Good afternoon. Welcome to the teleconferencing session of the School of Management Studies. Today we have two sessions and we are dedicating both these sessions to the MS4 course, that is Accounting and Finance for Managers. What we shall be doing is we shall be talking about accounting and its concepts and basic accounting things in the first session, and basically this course is divided into two courses. Two particular aspects are covered in the course. One is accounting and the other one is financial management. So this is a very basic course for the MBA. In the finance area also this is the basic course, and it is a compulsory course for everybody. Whoever is doing MBA through IGNOU, they have to do MS4 as a compulsory course. This is the whole approach of this course is to introduce the student to basic some of the accounting things and some of the financial aspects, finance function, how financial management is done, what are the components. This is the basic purpose of the course. So whatever you learn in this particular course, they will be elaborated and discussed in detail when you take the specialization in finance. So if you are taking finance as your specialization, these are going to be the fundamentals for that specialization. Otherwise also, even other specializations, people who wants to take other specialization also, basic knowledge about the accounting and finance is very essential. So we expect you that you go through this course very carefully, and since it is a little mathematical or quantitative oriented, rather than, I won't say mathematical, I would say it is quantitative oriented. So I think you need little more attention than the other courses, and particularly when two subjects like accounting and finance are combined together, it is slightly more difficult. So you have to put more effort for this particular course. In the first session, as I was telling you, we will be talking about the basic concepts of accounting, and in the second session we shall be talking to you on the financial management, introduction to the financial management. So what constitutes financial management, we will be talking to in the second session. Very quickly and briefly, the finance specialization has about 6 courses in the specialization level. So this course is the fundamental foundation for that course. So my colleague Anjali will be talking to you about the accounting concepts and its applications.
Accounting and its functions.
Yeah, accounting and its functions. And I shall be talking to you in the second session on the financial management and introductions. The whole approach of these two sessions is to give you a brief overview of the entire course. I shall be talking to you towards the end of these two sessions how our presentations are summarizing the whole course. So without wasting much of time, Anjali, let us start the session. Okay.
As you have already been told that this particular session will be taken up on accounting and its functions. So accounting basically, as you all know, is a language of business, and it is usually which is usually referred to as accounting. And just as any other language, the basic purpose of this language is to serve as a means of communication, and it is used to communicate matters relating to various aspects of business operations. Usually it is associated with the business operations, but it's not that only the business organizations are making use of this accounting. Various legal entities ranging from individuals to governments employ accounting to obtain information on the financial condition and performance of their organization. A good command over the grammar of this language is very important in order to understand it. And to interpret accounting information for purposes of communicating, reporting, and decision making or appraisal, it is very necessary to know about the various concepts and conventions of accounting, so that you are able to understand in a proper means the terms that are used in accounting in their proper technical sense. So we'll be first discussing about accounting and what it actually means, its need and functions, and later on, if time permits, Professor Ravi Shankar will be touching upon the concepts of accounting. So to begin with, we may have the first slide. Accounting. As you all know that accounting as defined by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants goes as this. Accounting is the art of recording, classifying and summarizing in a significant manner and in terms of money, transactions and events which are in part at least of financial character and interpreting the results thereof. This is the traditional definition that has been given. The modern definition of accounting, which is much wider and covering a wide range of management activities as given by the American Accounting Association, states that accounting as the process of identifying, measuring and communicating the economic information to permit informed judgments and decisions by the users of these information. From these two definitions of accounting, we can identify easily certain accounting functions such as the recording, classifying, as in the first definition that we have given. Accounting, the first function is recording, second classifying, summarizing, and then of course analysis and interpretation of this data as well as the communication. We may have the next slide. Yes, functions of accounting, as we were discussing from these two definitions, these are the functions that have been identified. The first recording is actually the art of which involves putting into writing or in print the transactions and events that have taken place of which are of a financial character reasonably soon after their occurrence in the books of accounts. It's not only that concerned about the fact that all business transactions are recorded, but also that they are recorded in an orderly manner. The first financial record that is there is the general journal, in which all the financial transactions are recorded in a chronological order of their occurrence. It is also known as the original book of entries. Yes. It is also known in practical accounting systems. The general journal is divided into parts which are known as the special journals or the subsidiary journals. There is a certain rule that is followed for recording these transactions in the journals. First of all, we should, if you have a pen and paper with you, you can just draw, because I have not drawn this format. The format of a journal is actually means it's a table in 5 parts, where the first column will indicate the date on which this transaction has taken place. And in accounting, we record the transactions when the title of the ownership is transferred from the seller to the buyer. So the date on which this transaction takes place is recorded in the first column. For example, if you are investing in any particular business by depositing a certain amount of rupees, say 50,000 in the bank, then the date on which this transaction is taking place, say for example it's today, then the date will be reflected in the first column of the journal. The second column gives the description about the asset, capital, liability, revenue or the expense that is being affected by this particular transaction. The third column indicates the reference to the ledger account, and the next 2 columns give the debit and the credit the next 2 columns indicate the debit and the credit. Now for a single transaction that has been taking place, as we were discussing, now in this case the bank is an asset which has increased. There is a particular rule for recording these transactions, and that is that if there is an increase in the asset or the expenses, that is recorded in, increase is recorded in the debit side, and the decrease in this asset or expenses is recorded in the credit column. Whereas the increase in liability, capital or revenue is recorded in the credit column and the decrease in the debit column. So in our case, the bank is an asset which has increased by 50,000. So we will be making an entry of 50,000 in the debit column, whereas another entry for the owner's capital, that the capital that you have invested, this owner's increase in the owner's capital is will be recorded in the credit column. So for a particular single transaction that has taken place, there were two entries that were coming up in the journal. So this is what is known as the double entry system, which is based on the principle of duality. That is, for one transaction there will be two entries. For each debit there will be an equal credit. So all events that are of economic importance has two aspects, that is sources and uses, that which offset or balance each other. All accounting systems are based on this principle of duality. Now after having recorded these data, we will be classifying this data by creating a separate head in the ledger for each of the items that are coming up in the journal. For example, in our case, which we have an entry for the bank, now there will be a separate ledger account will be created for the bank, and another account will be created for the owner's capital. In case if you further invest, for example, if you purchase furniture by of rupees 20,000 by making payment of by check, then this transaction will have two entries in the journal, and another account will be created, ledger account will be created in the for furniture. So similarly we go on creating these ledger accounts, and all these ledger accounts collectively are known as the general ledger. The rules that are followed for posting these entries from the journal to the ledger are the same as we have used for while recording the entries in the debit and credit column in the journal. That is, the debit part of the journal entry is recorded on the debit side of the ledger account, and the credit part of the journal entry will be recorded in the credit side of the relevant ledger account. So after having recorded and classified the data into different heads done by individual account heads, under which all financial transactions of a similar nature were to be grouped together. The journal entries actually do not provide summarized information about any particular head of the account, but the ledger account does it. For example, if the cash account summarizes all the cash increases or decreases that have taken place due to different transactions, it would be providing, the ledger account will be providing us the information about the reasons for these increase or decrease in the and also the balance of the cash. So after recording and classifying this data, it is summarized in a significant manner, which consists of presenting this classified data in a manner which is understandable and useful to the internal as well as the external users of accounting statements. Now the accounts in the ledger are usually balanced at the end of a stipulated period, which could be usually 1 month for internal and 1 year for external. Now the accountant will check the accuracy of these accounts by preparing the trial balance of all the ledger accounts as at the end of that particular period leading to the preparation of the financial statements. Now, after having recording and classifying and summarizing these data, one more important thing is the analysis and interpretation of this data. But before this, we all know that accounting deals only with transactions and events in terms of money which are of a financial character, and only these are recorded in the books of accounts. Whereas those transactions which are not of a financial character are not recorded in the books of accounts. So another important function which we could say is that accounting deals with financial transactions. Even if we have a team of dedicated and trusted employees who are of great use to the organization, but these do not, since they are not of a financial character and capable of being expressed in terms of money, are not recorded in the books of business. Although there are certain developments now coming up wherein which we have the human resource accounting and all. But for now it is this. The recorded financial data is then analyzed and interpreted in such a manner that the end user can make meaningful judgment about the financial condition and profitability of the business operations. They can also use this data in preparing or formulating the policies for the future. Both analysis and interpretation are complementary to each other. Analysis is useless without interpretation, and interpretation requires analysis. The major purpose of accounting, or the basic purpose of accounting, is to serve as a means of communication. So this recorded data that we have classified and summarized and then analyzed is then this accounting information, after that has been done, is to be meaningfully analyzed and interpreted, has to be communicated to the proper, in a particular proper form, to the proper persons who are going to use it. And this is done through preparation and distribution of accounting reports, which include, besides the usual financial statements and the financial statements, additional information in the form of accounting graphs, diagrams, funds flow statements, etc. As you may have, we may have the next slide, please. Yeah. As you may have observed, that accounting involves a series of activities which are linked with each other. Actually, we have begun with the analysis, with collection of data, recording this data, which is analyzed and then interpreted and finally communicated in the form of financial reports or statements. And if we consider the recording and classifying of the data as inputs, and analysis and interpretation of this data for the purpose of decision making as processes, and the final reports that we have for communicating the financial information as outputs, then the accounting system can be viewed as an information system, as it has all the features of a system, that is inputs, processes and outputs. The history, so you would like to add anything?
No, I think. Okay.
The history of accounting indicates the evolutionary pattern which reflects changes, socio-economic conditions and the enlarged purposes to which accounting is applied. So the accounting, please, we may have the slide, please. Starting from the stewardship accounting, there were various developments that have taken place in accounting. From stewardship accounting, we have come to the human resource accounting and inflation accounting. In olden days, wealthy people used to appoint stewards who used to manage their property, and these stewards used to give an account of their stewardship by at the end of a particular period. And this even today this notion lies at the root of the financial reporting system, which essentially involves the orderly recording of business transactions. So what we can say is stewardship accounting is associated with the need of business owners to keep records of their transactions, the property and tools that they owed, and the debts covered others owed them. So there are various accounting concepts and procedures which are being today used for the systematic recording, but they do have their origin in practice employed by the merchants in the earlier centuries. After the stewardship accounting, with the development of the large-scale business houses and the advent of the joint stock companies, came in the financial accounting system. Financial accounting is concerned basically with providing information to external users. Any law that is governing the operations of a company in any country gives a legal form to the doctrine of stewardship, which requires that accounting information be disclosed to the shareholders by means of various financial statements. And financial accounting involves the recording, classifying and summarizing the effects of internal events and external transactions in the form of reports for use by persons outside a business enterprise, such as shareholders, creditors, financial analysis, labor unions, government authorities, and the like. With the Industrial Revolution, has actually presented a challenge to the development of accounting as a tool for industrial management, and costing techniques that were developed as a means to guide the management to take various decisions. So with this came up the concept of cost accounting, that is the increasing awareness on the part of the entrepreneurs as well as the managers for using scientific principles of management in the wake of the scientific developments that were taking place. Came up the concept of cost accounting. Cost accounting is basically concerned with the application of the costing principles, methods and techniques for ascertaining the cost with a view to controlling them and assessing the profitability and efficiency of the enterprises. The next logical step in the development of accounting is the development of the management accounting process. Management accounting is concerned with the preparation and presentation of accounting information which assist management in the formation of policies for decision making on various matters that are connected with routine or non-routine operations of the business. It is also concerned with as we have already said, that it is concerned with the preparation of reports which are to be used by the internal users such as managers for making various decisions, day-to-day decisions that they need to take and for this the information needs could be varying, and different reports are being prepared as per the requirements of the manager. So this provides information to carry out their managerial responsibilities, assist them in carrying out their responsibilities and functions such as planning, execution and control and decision making. Social responsibility accounting, actually this This is a new phase that has taken birth due to the increasing social awareness among people in the past few decades. The role of business in society is increasingly coming under scrutiny, because management is nowadays not only held responsible for the efficient conduct of business as far as the profitability of the business is concerned, but also towards its contribution towards the social well-being and progress of the progress. Although the concepts that are there of growth and profit in balance sheet or accounting that are used, these are too narrow to reflect the social responsibility aspects of a business. Thus, we can say that the social responsibility accounting widens the scope of accounting by giving a due consideration to the social effects of business decisions in addition to the economic effects. Actually, way back in 1964, the first attempt to include figures on human capital in the balance sheet were made by Emerson, which later came to be known as the human resource accounting. But there was a sea change that has occurred during the 1990s with the emergence of the knowledge economy. There was a distinctive shift from recognition of human and intellectual capital in contrast to the physical capital. So in simple words, what we can say is that it involves accounting for investment in people and replacement cost, as well as accounting for the economic values of people of an organization. So, human resource accounting seeks to report and emphasize the importance of human resources in a company's earning process and total assets. It is a managerial tool that is providing valuable information to the top management to take various decisions regarding the adequacy of the human resource that is available, and thus encouraging managers to consider investment in manpower in a much better and a more effective manner. The last is the inflation accounting, and this is concerned with the adjustment in the value of assets and of profit in the light of the changes in the price level. Actually, it is inflation accounting is in a way concerned with the overcoming of limitations that arise in financial statements on account of cost assumptions and assumptions of stable monetary unit. So overall, that's it. What we can see is that the aim of inflation accounting is to correct the distortions in the reported results that are caused by price level changes. Sir, you would like to speak on this, uses of accounting information?
This inflation accounting, see, basically what happens is in the accounting statements, we record the prices of a particular asset or something at the procurement price, so which may not be a realistic kind of price, because maybe you have purchased that particular asset say 5 to 10 years back, and that time that may be the price. Today the price will be different and much higher, since we are in an inflationary economy. So what happens is, this inflation accounting takes care of this kind of problems. Otherwise, your asset is always reflected in a much higher level, much lower level price, which may not be the realistic reflection. If you want to replace that particular asset today, you may not be getting it at that particular price. So what happens is, it is always better, this inflationary accounting system provides corrections for such kind of problems in the accounting information. So this is more relevant in these days. So because inflation is going on, yesterday we have seen 7% is the rate of inflation. So that means unless you realistically prepare your statements, what happens is at a particular point of time, after some time you may find loss because everything has gone up, but your books of account shows the old prices. So this is very important in the kind of these things. What do you want me to talk?
Users of accounting information. Okay. We have external, we may have the slide please. We have external as well as internal users of accounting information.
Basically whatever we have.
Yes. So first is the shareholders and investors.
See, ultimately the whole purpose of accounting function, what Anjali has been talking to you is, the whole purpose is communicating with the public, with the users of accounting information. The users can be both two sections, maybe internal users or external users. Internal users means the management, the employees, the promoters, these are the internal users. But external means when you are going for a bank loan, they will analyze your accounting statements. So that is one external use, and then you have shareholders, and investors who would like to invest in your company. So before that they want to know what is the state of affairs in the company, whether the company is doing very well or not. So the whole in the last say 40 minutes what Anjali has presented is how to record the things, how to classify them, how to summarize them and analyze them and interpret them. The whole purpose of this is to communicate with the people who wants to use the accounting information. So there are various groups, as we have been telling you. Shareholders and investors is one of the. Shareholders means they need not be promoters. Promoters are one group who will be involved in the management, but as outside shareholders who are not day-to-day participating in the management of the company, they constitute the major chunk of the shareholders.
They may be interested in knowing about the solvency and liquidity position of the
okay. Profitability, of course, because they are interested in the profits and the liquidity, of course. Once, if at a particular point of time, how much the company is liquid. Then the creditors. Creditors is the other group who would be interested, because once they give credit to the company, they should be more worried about their own capital, the loan they have given, how far the company will be able to pay back the loan. That is one. And how far the company will be able to give the interest, annual interest, whatever occurs every year, whether they will be able to meet it from the revenue generated from the company. So they are naturally concerned about the affairs of the company. Then the government, of course, because since these companies are
interested because for taxation purposes
that is one thing. And second thing also, government also has some social responsibility towards the public. They would like to watch how the companies are performing, whether the companies are cheating the public and investor. That is also important function of this thing. Then the consumers also should know whether the company is able to continue, or whether the company, whether particularly this happens in the industrial goods. So if a company is depending on a particular product, how far the company, how much the margins are there, how much the company will be able to survive for how long. So that depending upon that particular thing, they can also make their production plans. So that way it is also important for the customers. Then Of course, internal proprietors, of course, is there, management, employees. So basically, whatever we are doing in the form of accounting function is the communication of the business status of the status of the business. Through accounting, we are communicating with the external world and internal world. So anything is there, or we will move to the concepts? Concepts. How much time is left?
Maintaining accounts, activities of an accountant.
Just you can go through.
So the major activity, we may have this slide please. So the major activities performed by an accountant could be the maintenance of the accounts of the organization. That is the major activity that the accountant takes. Then directing the attention of the management towards various problems that could be foreseen, and definitely the solutions to these problems. Then another activity is the tax planning, external verification of accounts, and protecting and promoting the interest of the employers.
So at this point of time, maybe we can stop and we can invite questions. If there are any questions, we would like to answer them. I think most of you have our toll-free numbers, so please call us. We will be happy to answer your queries. This particular functions of accounting, if you have to summarize, basically what happens is, let us take an example of a household. What happens every day in our houses? So you get a particular amount of salary. So you suppose if you give it to your wife, she will be spending it, and every day she will make an entry on what item she has been spending the money. So that is, we can say that is recording of the expenditure. So similarly, business also, whenever they spend money, so they have to record it every day in a particular book, which is called journal. Okay. Then what happens is, say for example in the household context, at the end of the month you would like to see how much is spent on each of the item, so that you can see where you are spending more or where you are not spending up to the level which is required, and where you are spending wastefully. So that is important. So what you do is, you try to classify them into headwise. Suppose say provisions, for example taking the household thing, or education, like that. So at the end of the month you are summarizing you are classifying them into a particular head, each item a separate head, and classifying them as separate items, and trying to summarize them at the end of the month, trying to find out how much is the monthly end expenditure on each item, and you are analyzing it, because ultimately when you have made a summary, what you do is analyze whether I am doing a judicious spending, or I am spending on wrong items and ignoring the right items. So that is analysis and interpretation. So of course in the household context it may not be, communication may not be required, because it is all within the family, so it is all right. But in case of the company, it is very essential, because there are many people who are interested in the affairs of the company. So all those people will be interested in knowing what is happening in the company. So first thing is journal, then books of accounts, then you have trial balance, then the financial statements, which means profit and loss account and balance sheet and cash flow, funds flow, these are there. So these are all the mechanisms or the means of communication of your accounting information. Why accounting information? Because every transaction in the business is measured in the form of money. So if you record all those transactions, the activities of all the activities of the company are recorded in the quantitative terms and financial terms, and it gives a true picture of your company's affairs. And developments like your human resource accounting, inflationary accounting, social responsibility accounting, these are sharpening those tools and techniques and trying to give a picture as closer as possible to the reality. So these are very essential means of communication, and they are helping the company to communicate their real position to the public and also to the management, so that people can take informed decisions. So at this point of time, there is 1.5 minute time more. The role of accounting, see, it started with the history, how the history of accounting has progressed. Stewardship accounting, because earlier days there used to be owner somewhere, and these stewards or agents used to manage the companies. So they have a typical different kind of situation, and they have accounting for that kind of situation. Similarly, as you go on, as the things are coming up clear and clear, and situations are becoming more complicated, you you have accounting concepts like management accounting, cost accounting. Cost accounting is very important in these days, because the competition has gone up so much. So your cost inputs cost is very important. If you can reduce on your input cost, this is one of the ways of improving your profitability. Similarly, human resource accounting, particularly in IT sector like things, some of the people are very key to the industry. So if they leave the industry, maybe that particular company may be closed, or it may face a serious problem. So accounting such kind of contingencies also is an important thing. So as the situation, as the environment becomes more competitive, more complex, and more difficult, new kinds of techniques are coming up, and they are being put to use like this. I think we will stop at this particular point of time, and we will get back to you and talk to you about the introduction to financial management. Anjali, you want to say something? Okay, thank you.
कोलकाता, कलिकाता या कलकत्ता, आप इसे कुछ भी नाम दें, इसके नाम मात्र से एक ऐसे नगर की छवि जहन में उभरती है जिसका एक समृद्ध इतिहास है। 3 शताब्दी पहले कोलकाता एक छोटा सा गांव होता था, जो इस कालावधि में भारत के सबसे बड़े शहरों में से एक बन गया है। कोलकाता का पुराना नाम कलिकाता था, जो उन 3 गांवों में से एक था जिन्हें जॉब चारनाक ने ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी के कारोबार के लिए चुना था। कोलकाता सन 1911 तक भारत की राजधानी रहा। तब भारत पर अंग्रेजों का शासन था। कोलकाता में ढेर सी ऐसी इमारतों और स्मारकों को देख कोई हैरानी नहीं होती, जो आज भी औपनिवेशिक काल की यादें ताजा कर देते हैं। ऐसा ही एक स्थान है विक्टोरिया मेमोरियल। ब्रिटिश हुकूमत के दौरान भारत के वायसरॉय लॉर्ड कर्जन ने क्वीन विक्टोरिया को श्रद्धांजलि देने के लिए विक्टोरिया मेमोरियल बनवाया था। चार जनवरी 1906 को किंग जॉर्ज पंचम ने इसकी नींव रखी थी। वे उस समय प्रिंस ऑफ वेल्स थे। 28 दिसंबर 1921 को किंग एडवर्ड अष्टम ने इस पूरी इमारत को क्वीन को समर्पित कर दिया। मेमोरियल को देखकर इटालवी और यूनानी शिल्प के प्रति अंग्रेजों का झुकाव स्पष्ट नजर आता है। इसके गुंबद इस्लामी शैली के हैं। विक्टोरिया मेमोरियल को बनाने में जिस संगमरमर का इस्तेमाल किया गया है, उसका कुछ हिस्सा राजस्थान स्थित मकराना की उन्हीं खानों से आया है, जहां से ताजमहल के लिए संगमरमर आया था। गुंबद के ऊपर 16 फुट लंबी कांसे की बनी स्टैचू ऑफ विक्ट्री को बॉल बेयरिंग की मदद से लगाया गया है। जब तेज हवा चलती है तो ये घूमती है। गार्डन ऑफ मेमोरियल को 338 गुना 228 वर्ग फुट क्षेत्र में बनाया गया है। उत्तरी दरवाजे की तरफ जाते हुए क्वीन विक्टोरिया की कांसे की बनी प्रतिमा नजर आती है। क्वीन अपने सिंहासन पर बैठी हैं। दक्षिण दिशा से इस इमारत की ओर बढ़ते हुए किंग एडवर्ड सप्तम की कांसे की बनी प्रतिमा है। विक्टोरिया मेमोरियल में भारत में बनी ऑयल पेंटिंग्स का शानदार संग्रह मौजूद है। इन चित्रों को 1770 से 1835 के बीच यूरोप के कुछ बेहद प्रख्यात कलाकारों ने बनाया। कोलकाता शहर के आरंभिक काल को थॉमस डैनियल की पेंटिंग्स में देखा जा सकता है। कलकत्ता गैलरी में खास तौर पर इस शहर के इतिहास और विकास को दर्शाया गया है और इसे अवश्य देखना चाहिए। विक्टोरिया से चलते हैं अब राइटर्स बिल्डिंग की तरफ, जिसमें फिलहाल पश्चिम बंगाल सरकार का सचिवालय है। ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी के जूनियर राइटर या क्लर्क यहां रहा करते थे। यहां क्योंकि लेखक रहते थे, इसलिए इसका नाम राइटर्स बिल्डिंग पड़ गया। राइटर्स बिल्डिंग का निर्माण 1780 में हुआ था, लेकिन इसके भव्य कोरिंथियन अग्रभाग का निर्माण 1889 में ही हुआ। इसके लंबे लंबे स्तंभ, मेहराबदार गलियारे और इसके मध्य में स्थित पवेलियन इस इमारत को गोथिक शिल्प कला का बेजोड़ नमूना बनाती हैं। यहां 4 मूर्तियां मौजूद हैं जो प्रतीक रूप में विज्ञान, खेती, वाणिज्य तथा न्याय को दर्शाती हैं। जिस जगह आज राइटर्स बिल्डिंग मौजूद है, वहां से कभी औपनिवेशिक गतिविधियों का संचालन हुआ करता था। यहां आसपास ही हाई कोर्ट, गवर्नर हाउस और प्रसिद्ध तालाब लाल दिघी मौजूद है। विक्टोरिया मेमोरियल वास्तव में कलकत्ता की एक खास पहचान है।
Gwalior Fort is a pearl in the necklace of the castles of Hind. This is the remark that Babur made about the Gwalior Fort, and right he did. Dutch tourist James Daniel also said something similar about this fort. Both Babur and James Daniel were right in their explanation. This fort is the most dominating feature of Gwalior's skyline. The Gwalior Fort spreads out over an area of 3 square kilometers and is surrounded by a solid wall of sandstone. This fort encloses 3 temples, 6 palaces and a number of water tanks. While entering the fort, one comes across the towering 15th century Jain Tirthankar statues carved out of the honey-colored cliff. It is a mystery why these statues have been carved out here. Raja Man Singh Tomar built Gwalior Fort in the 15th century. This fort is regarded as North and Central India's most impregnable fortress. However, in the 500 years since then, the fort has changed hands many times. Tomars, Mughals, Marathas and British all have ruled from this place, and they finally handed it over to the Scindias. This palace spreads over 4 levels. It has amazing and efficient system of cooling. So too are the exquisite blue enamel work. It is embellished with a vivid pattern in tile and paint. The ghosts of legends haunt this palace. Murad, Aurangzeb's younger brother, was imprisoned and later killed here. Mughals held the fort 2 centuries and did not touch the 3 beautiful old temples in the fort. Johar Kund is the spot where the women of the harem burnt themselves to death after the defeat of King of Gwalior in 1232. Other palaces within the Gwalior fort which are worth giving a visit are Karan Palace, the Jahangir Mahal, the Shah Jahan Mahal and the Gujri Mahal. Man Singh built this palace for his consort Mrignaini. Now a museum houses what is perhaps the finest collection of medieval sculptures in the country. Close to this museum is the tomb of Muhammad Ghaus, and he was one of Akbar's 9 gems. He was Tansen's spiritual mentor. Muhammad Ghaus lived in the 15th century. Then a little further away is Surajkund, from where the name Gwalior emerged. The 8th century chieftain Suraj Sen was lost in the jungle and felt thirsty. He reached the hermitage of a saint called Gwalpa. As he drank the water from a tank nearby, he was cured of a disease, and then he found a city and named it after the saint. Gwalior Fort is a fort which still holds a lot of awe for its guests, which come from the whole of India as well as from all over the world. A real necklace whose brilliance has not diminished over the years.